Now let's talk about art. What kind of art do you enjoy? I like Chinese watercolor painting the most. This is because I started learning watercolor from the age of 4, and I fell in love with the process of blending water with colors in order to create light and contrast. This is the art form that I'm most familiar with, and so it's all the more appealing to me. What are the traditional art forms in your country? Aside from watercolor painting, Chinese calligraphy and paper cutting are also traditional art forms in China. All Chinese children practice a bit Chinese calligraphy, as well as learning to cut paper art like double happiness, dragons, and flowers. What do you think makes a good painting? To me, a good painting usually shares 3 common characteristics. First, it has good techniques with choice of colors and arrangement of elements. Second, the painting attaches a strong personal involvement so that the viewers can feel a sense of enlightenment. Third, and most importantly, it has to be original. It's different from what we usually see. How can children benefit from learning art? Art is food for the soul. Learning art for children has numerous benefits. For example, it's supposed to help with their mental, emotional, and psychological development. I loved painting since I was little. For me, the greatest benefit is that through art, I can express myself. I learned to express my inner thoughts and feelings through painting. What makes a good education? A good education not only teaches children knowledge, but also mental health and moralities to become responsible citizens so that they can help make the world a better place. What role should a teacher have in the classroom? The most important role of a teacher is to motivate and educate students. They are the center of the classroom. Besides that, there are also role models and mentors who can encourage students to build confidence and become the kind of people they want to be. What is the difference between how children learn and how adults learn? Adults are like papers with paintings already on them, whereas children are like clean slates. So the biggest difference is that adults are self-directed learners who already have a wealth of knowledge and experience to draw from. On the other hand, children are dependent learners. They depend on the teachers to receive information, and they also have very little experience upon which they can draw. Do you think computers will one day replace teachers in the classroom? No, I don't think so. Computers will not replace an effective teacher because the emotional aspect of being a human is non-replaceable. Teachers give encouragement to students and they touch lives in ways that a machine would never be able to do. They are also a support system to the community who are most remembered and cherished for their characteristics and kind hearts, which the computer has none. Now I would like to talk about food. Do you think diet is important? A balanced diet is very important for good health and well-being. It prevents us from getting diseases and infections such as heart disease and diabetes. It also helps with our mental well-being because the right mix of nutrients help ease the symptoms of anxiety and depression. What is a balanced diet in your country? In China, a balanced diet usually includes lots of fruits and vegetables and weekly intake of grains, meat, fish, and dairy products such as milk and eggs during our main meals. Chinese also like to snack on nuts and seeds, which are also considered to be nutritious. Why do some people enjoy eating out? People usually eat out to celebrate special occasions or to hang out with friends. Sometimes we also eat at restaurants for the food we don't usually cook at home or simply to save time and energy from cooking. What's the difference between restaurant food and home-cooked food? Home-cooked food is usually healthier, more nutritious, and cheaper. We know what we're putting there when we're cooking at home, so we can limit the unhealthy intake of extra fat, salt, and sugar. Restaurant food might be more tasty, and they serve faster, but they're usually high on calories. How can people improve their health? The best way to improve health is to get regular exercise. People who practice routine exercise usually have less chance of catching a disease. The other way is to keep a healthy diet. We are what we eat. Eating healthy food keeps a healthy body. Do elderly people do much exercise in your country? I think elderly people in China do decent amount of exercise. They like to go out for a stroll early morning, and some do Tai Chi or square dancing. If health permits, most retired people in China still enjoys going out for a walk, for grocery shopping in the market, which is an excellent exercise one can do. Do you think all illness can be prevented? A lot of illness can be prevented if we live a healthy lifestyle, such as no smoking, no excessive drinking or intake of drugs. And also, yearly checkup with the doctors can help prevent the risk of getting diseases. But I think there are some viruses which came out off guard can never be prevented, like SARS and COVID-19. Do you think healthcare should be free? I think they should be free. I have contrasting experience with the healthcare system in the US and in Europe. I gave birth 2 times in Europe, both free of charge, one in the UK and one in France. In comparison, I paid a fortune to fix my cavity tooth back in the US. So personally, I would support universal healthcare so that average citizen like me can have access to treatments no matter when I'm in riches or in poverty. Do most people have internet at home in your country? I saw a graph a few years ago that 2 out of 10 Chinese owned personal computers. Now that the number might be slightly higher, but I wouldn't say that most Chinese have computers at home. How can people find reliable information on the internet? In order to find reliable information over the internet, people need to learn to differentiate a good source from a bad one. A good source is the one that provides a good theory, discussions and arguments based on strong evidence. So a reliable source can be trademark or professional articles and books, as well as trustworthy websites. How has the internet changed the way we live? The internet has revolutionized communications, and we almost can't live without it. We are now all connected in a simpler and more accessible way. We rely on the internet for online shopping, getting information, and all kinds of other services. We are now living in a digital age when the future of the internet has only just begun. Do you think the internet is safe for children to use unsupervised? It's definitely not safe for children to use the internet unsupervised. They can be exposed to so many risks, such as the pop-up of inappropriate content or online scams. So I think parents should put parental control for children when they use their computers or cell phones or tablets for internet content. Do you believe everything you read in the newspapers? No, I don't believe everything I read in the newspapers because there are so many fake news out there, especially during the recent US presidential election. There are more and more scandals about politicians influencing the media and how the news is reported. Since it's very hard to tell whether a news is true or fake, it's better not to trust the whole thing. How do most people get their news in your country? Nowadays, I think most people get their news through WeChat in China. It's the most popular app, especially for our young generation. We use it almost every day, and WeChat has made news more accessible and easier to share. How has TV changed our lives? TV has changed the way we receive entertainment in the past several decades. People of all ages now sit in front of the TV a lot more hours than people in the past. And for family with children like us, we kind of use the TV as a babysitter every once in a while so that the children can receive educational content as well as entertainment. Should children be allowed to watch a lot of TV? I think children should be allowed to watch a limited amount of TV. For one thing, too much screen time hurts their eyes, and for another, too much TV reduces the amount of time they can play outdoor, which is a healthier form of entertainment for kids. What are the main environmental problems in your country? I think pollution is the most serious environmental problem in China, especially air pollution. I used to see a lot of blue sunny skies when I was a kid, but now the sky is mostly gray with lots of fog. With more factories being built and more pollutants being emitted into the air, I think we need better strategies to protect our environment. How can people protect the environment? People can adopt a healthier lifestyle so that we can all become more conscientious of environmental protection. For example, we can walk or use the bicycle instead of driving, and we can also use less plastic bags when go grocery shopping. Do you think money should be spent on protecting animals? I think money should be spent on protecting the animals, especially endangered species, because they're very important to the balance of the ecosystem. Damage to the ecosystem will affect our human lives in the short and long run. Do you think more should be spent to protect natural beauty spots in your country? China's vast and diverse territories give us some of the most beautiful natural sceneries on earth, such as the Yellow Mountains and Lijiang. So I think more should be done to protect them because they're the symbols of our cultural heritage. They're worth our effort to preserve for generations to come. What social problems are there in your country? China is such a complex country, and thus we have a wide ranging of social problems such as income and gender inequality, distrust of fake goods and pirated products, as well as social unrest in the minority regions. From my own experience, limited education resources are also a big problem. We all suffered from extreme pressure to compete for good education. What can be done to alleviate poverty? Good governmental policies can help alleviate poverty. For example, the success of the economic reform led by Deng Xiaoping back in the 80s resulted in immense changes in China. It has greatly reduced poverty and income inequality. Do you think all criminals should go to prison? All criminals can't all go to prisons simply because, for one, it's too costly, and for two, people who committed petty crimes can't be compared with felonies who deserve more of a punishment. Why do so many people move to live in cities? People move to cities mainly for better jobs, good education resources, and better lifestyle. In the countryside, jobs are limited to farming and other related work, whereas urban areas are abundant in career choices, which brings with it a livelier lifestyle. Why do some people prefer to travel abroad than in their country? Some people prefer to experience a completely different culture and view drastically different sceneries, which they couldn't find in their own country. Take myself, for example. I've always enjoyed living outside China. It's always more exciting to go a lot further and see something out of the ordinary. Do you think it is good for children to experience life in a foreign country? I think it would be a lovely experience for children to be exposed to different cultures and try to learn foreign languages when they're young. It will open up their horizon. and develop more rounded worldviews when they grow up. This is the philosophy I follow to bring up my children. They grow up in different countries and it's a lot more easier for them to acquire different languages and cultures. How have holidays changed over the past few decades? Holidays have become a lot more commercialized than in the past, with products pouring in the supermarkets to urge personal spending. Take Christmas here in France, for example. We spend a lot more money buying Christmas decorations and way too many gifts for everyone, especially for children. Do you think it's safer to travel now than in the past? Well, due to the coronavirus, it's becoming not safe to travel this year and possibly the next year. Even though fast trains and planes have connected the world ever so close, they also allow virus to spread in a speed we could hardly control. Do you think job satisfaction is more important than salary when choosing a job? I do think job satisfaction is more important than salary when you're not struggling with everyday spending. For poor farmers who have no way out, making more money makes more sense and is more important for survival. But for me, I quit my high-paying consultant job to become an international public servant because I prefer to work on something more gratifying than working for money. What skills do you think are needed to get a good job these days? Basic communication skills and computer literacy are essential in finding good jobs these days. Because no matter what we do, we need to communicate with others, and then also because the internet has spread it everywhere and changed the way we live, knowing how to use a computer is essential as well. How has technology changed the way we work? The invention of computers and cell phones and the internet has connected the whole world together, and thus we can work in a closer fashion than we can ever imagine. For example, now I got used to working from home and connect with my colleagues in Geneva and in the UK, which doesn't make too much difference than from working in an office environment. What is the difference between white-collar and blue-collar jobs? White-collar workers are known to be wearing suit and tie in industries, whereas blue-collar workers engage more in hard manual labor, such as construction and maintenance. The former usually receive university or higher education and they make more money than the latter, who receive college or vocational training. Now this is the end of our speaking test. Whoop. Thank you so much for your answers. What can be done to alleviate poverty? What can be done to alleviate poverty? What can be done to alleviate poverty? What can be done to alleviate poverty?